Um, I just graduated from EJ Gullikar. I served as a VP and the president there for the last like 4 years. But yeah, thank you guys for coming out, and then I'll hand it off to the panelists to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Prisha, and I just graduated from UW-Madison. I was on Wisconsin Wale, and yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Megha. I'm gonna be a senior at UC Junoon.
Hi everyone, I'm Gabe. I was a beatboxer and mixed lead at Purdue Taal for the past 4 years, and now I've just graduated Purdue, and I'm here in New York City.
Hey everyone, I'm Yuktha. I was on the line I was, and I was one of the choreo and music directors for 4 years.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, so we'll get started now. How it's gonna work is we have like a bunch of questions set up. We're gonna ask them. We're gonna go down the panel, and then at the end we'll have about like 15 minutes for Q&A, so you guys can ask questions along the way. And we'll also put the questions that they're gonna answer in chat, so you guys can kind of see them. But yeah, we'll get started. I'd say the first question that we have today is, what experience did you have that helped with arranging? Or if you didn't have an experience, how did you kind of learn to arrange? And what specific tools or softwares did you have to learn? And what was your experience with them? Sorry, that was a lot in one in one question, but if someone wants to start, we can.
I can start. Oh, sorry. Okay. So I probably have the least experience out of everybody here. I've been doing it for like 2 years, but I kind of started using GarageBand, and I did not have any like fancy tech or equipment. And I would literally like record it onto my iPhone and then airdrop it to myself and then drag it in. So I don't recommend that. I have a condenser microphone now, which is really helpful. But honestly, like singing harmonies like in the car after listening to the songs that you've chosen over and over again helps a lot. Any like background experience, like I play guitar, so having a little bit of chord theory knowledge helps. Just like kind of like giving chords to everything before and then giving them to parts. I like to record first and then like kind of write it into sheet music. I use MuseScore a lot. Loki, MuseScore is better for me, like as an MD, just because when somebody asks you for help on their part, like you're not gonna know it off the top of your head. So just being able to see everything in one place helps teach better. So that's kind of how I do that.
Yeah, thank you. Does someone else want to answer the question?
Yeah, sure. So very similar. I actually had very little. I didn't have like any arranging experience before coming into Thal. I had done like drums and piano a little bit before, but I actually am not the sing. I'm not a singer in Thal either. So it was kind of weird making arrangements because I'm not typically the one singing. So it was a little bit harder for me to like understand exactly what would sound good and what everybody's ranges were, etc. Um, but that's all to say that I like highly encourage you if you're interested in arranging and you've never had any experience whatsoever. It's really, really fun. You can get into it with very little experience. You just pick some songs that you think would go well together. And then of course there's the skill of actually like, making the parts for said arrangement. Um, in terms of tools, it's also very chill. Like I've used all free tools online. So I use like BandLab, which is very similar to GarageBand. And then to like isolate vocal tracks, for example, if I was making a mix or the arrangement with before, or sorry, making a mix before the arrangement parts, I would use like vocal isolators so I can get the vocals out from the background parts. So yeah, you can find all this stuff like for free online.
Yeah, just to like piggyback off of that, I totally agree with everything he said. I also used GarageBand and BandLab to help arrange. I like to like kind of how Mega was saying, like while listening to a song, like sing harmonies, and then kind of have an idea of like what kind of layers you could have for each each melody. that was really nice. And then something that came in handy was before I went to arrange any song, I would always like play it out on piano since I know how to play piano. And once I figured out kind of what chord progressions I want and like what harmonies and melodies and all that I want, then I would transfer to kind of writing it out on MuseScore. So MuseScore is honestly like a pain, but once you get figure out how to use it, it's really helpful and it's really convenient to write your music on. So yeah, that's kind of my process.
Kind of adding on to that, I want to say if you want to get into arranging music, you just have to kind of dip your toes into it and just like jump in the deep end at a certain point. I had to start arranging my freshman year because we were in like a transition type era, so we kind of had no idea what was going on. So we just had to start putting comp arrangements out as like freshmen that just got to college. So the only thing I could do is just experiment and try new things. We did have a really experienced MD that left a MuseScore tutorial on our Google Drive, which was really helpful. So for all graduating MDs, definitely put tutorials in your Google Drives. It will like save lives. But yeah, when it comes to part writing, definitely you don't need to be like the most correct with music theory. I actually failed the part writing part of my exam in honors music theory in high school, which is kind of funny to think about now. But you don't need to be correct at all. You just kind of have to throw notes on there, and later on you can check if it's good with someone with music theory knowledge. But just put things out there, and also doing your research, I want to say, go on YouTube and watch a bunch of teams that have like gotten best arrangement in the past, teams that have like won at previous 8-3s and stuff. And just watching those over and over again, like I have videos memorized, like down to the choreo and like small voice parts, just because of how many times I've watched them. And at a certain point, when you listen to a song that you want to arrange, those little nuances that they add into their pieces, like you can find yourself kind of fitting them into the puzzle of what you're trying to arrange at the moment. Like, oh, I've seen this team do a really cool slide there. I think this would go cool here as well. So your arrangement kind of starts falling into place the more you kind of take inspiration from other people and just experiment on your own.
Awesome. Thank you all for your answers. Moving on to our next question, can you walk us through your process when creating an entirely new set? Generally, what is the first thing you think about?
So I guess for me, theme is like the last thing I think about because I feel like the harder part is choosing songs. And then once we choose the songs, then we kind of like, this theme could work. Just because if you choose the theme first, which you probably could do, we've just found that it kind of limits what songs you can choose later on. Transitions are hard because it's like sometimes the songs are so different, but a lot of times I like using instrumental parts um, in either of the songs and then kind of making that into a voice part. It's nice because you have to be a little bit like, it's like a little teaser. Like you're like, this sounds familiar. I don't really know what it is. And then you get to the song, which is like a nice way to do that. Balance in wait, what does this mean? Adjusting for numbers and vocal part. Like just how many people are in each part. Is that what that means?
Yeah, so that with that part specifically, one thing we were thinking is basically the question is how do you maintain balance in a set? So if we're on a team where, for example, you have more upper voices or more lower voices or any general imbalance, any ideas there?
Oh, yeah. We definitely try to keep it pretty bottom heavy because sopranos, like, because the frequency of their singing is just higher, like, it just carries more and it's really easy for them to get overpowered. So we try to keep like a lower section, or not lower section, just like keep more lower, less people at the top. Um, yeah.
Yeah, to add on to that, I totally agree with keeping lower people at the like trying to have a lower sounding team. I remember at least my rule of thumb is that each part should have around 2 to 4 people. There should not be a part that has only one person. because that's really scary for them. And there shouldn't be a part that has more than 4 people because then it just sounds like their part. So I remember last year we had like an even number of altos and sopranos, but I knew that some of our altos are a little like deeper, so I was able to like split up the alto part and have an alto 1 and 2, and then those alto 2s could have really low melodies which sounded really good in our set. So at least my process through creating a new set, same with Megha, I totally think about the theme last. I feel like it's easier to find pieces, piece them together, and then be like, okay, what did we just build? Because yeah, if you start with a theme, then it's really hard to find pieces that you can kind of go with that theme. Transitions are very difficult to do between pieces because typically you start by writing your arrangements and then you're like, okay, I have to put them together. What do I do? Um, for us, like my thought process was either we use a specific part of a song or like we find a similarity between both of the arrangements we're trying to connect and use that as like a bridge. But we ended up just sticking with a pretty simple transition that led us right to the next song. It was just one note, and that also works. It's honestly trial and error. You have to see what works well with your group and what sounds good in the arrangement too. But yeah, for balance, I think it's really important that you spend a lot of time listening to your group and seeing what voice parts kind of stick out more and what voice parts should stick out more. Like how we were talking about the sopranos are, typically a little bit louder since they do sing at such a high level. But we need to have a balanced group. So it's important to know like what all strengths your team has and like how to divide that up.
When it comes to creating a set for our team, we usually don't think about the theme as well. I feel like it definitely does limit your choices as to what types of songs you're doing. One thing we do like to stick to is kind of our equation of like, okay, a slower song plus like a starting song with a lot of slides and fun stuff in it, ending with something really jam-packed with like a lot of Carnatic stuff in it. We kind of have our equation that ends up working for us and also helps us conserve our energy in the best way during a set. So we usually kind of have those molds for mixes in mind, and then a lot of people on the team contribute ideas as for like what songs to do and things like that. So we try to start fitting songs into those molds, seeing if like one Western song matches the scale of like a South Asian song we're trying to do and things like that. So we kind of start off with like a very, very broad outline, and then soon after things start coming into place once we start arranging small tidbits here and there. But as far as transitions go, we like to take a more creative route with it. That's like it might not be the most like correct thing to do in the time, but I think we just like making music that's like interesting and maybe not like the most traditional. Like 2 years ago, we brought the Oppenheimer soundtrack to transition from a Billie Eilish song to a Delana. So definitely take fun things like that because you never know if it'll end up working out on stage or if people end up liking it, but you'll have fun doing it, and it's definitely a more like interesting path to take if you have the time to put that in. So, yeah.
I don't want to rehash what everybody else has already said. We don't think about theme first either. Our team actually has, like at least in the past 2 years, have had a different mix lead for every mix in our arrangement. I know most teams do have like a single or like two music directors that will kind of help lead the entire set. But I think it's definitely possible. We one thing I love about the way that we do this is that like everybody gets a chance to be able to arrange music if they really want to, and we think that it fits into the set. Um, but yeah, everything else that everybody else has already said, I don't want to rehash, so I'll just say that.
Oh, thank you guys so much. Um, for the third question, I guess, like, what do you guys kind of think about when you select the audition piece and also when selecting songs for your set? Um, If Yukta, if you want to start us off with that one.
Yeah, for audition pieces, are you talking about like the very first one that you submit to get into comps?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, awesome. We usually like to choose our strongest piece at the time. Um, it really depends on whether that piece is a song from like our previous years or if that's something that we're currently working on. So, me and my co-MD from the last 4 years, we would arrange over the summer and get things done super fast. So we have things to test out right away. So by the time it gets to um, sending an audition video, we have a little bit of like each song done and like I don't want to say perfect, but we're definitely somewhere with it. So we like to choose something that would showcase different strengths that we have. So this past year we chose a segment with scatting in it. We chose like a segment that also had a lot of strong runs from the soloist and also like strong bass lines and things like that. So we like to choose a section of our song that kind of is like an everything bagel. Like it literally has everything in it. And it's like, it just shows the judges that we can do a lot of different things and we don't just stick to like one part of the piece. So definitely choose something that's strong, but also has like showcases different strengths and different ideas in it. Yeah, finding a piece like that would make a really strong audition piece.
To build off of what you said, the whole everything bagel idea, you definitely also don't need to pick like a single contiguous part from your song. You're the one arranging it, right? So you can change your arrangement to match the, I believe it's 90 seconds that you have in your audition. So that's like something that we did, for example, this past audition cycle. We took one of our older mixes and I just rearranged the song a little bit, just cut out pieces here and there so that way we could get all of the most important and most like jaw-dropping parts of the mix into the 90 seconds. So that's also another way that you can get sort of this, like you said, everything bagel into your audition video.
Yeah, I think picking the audition video is definitely hard, and I agree with both of you guys. Last year was our first year competing, so it was like especially nerve-wracking for us to pick a video. And we spent like not a video, but like a piece and like a segment of the piece to do. And we ended up picking a part that kind of showcased our blend the best and like our blend and the chords that we use and like our dynamics as well. And I think that helped a lot with us. And I think we also chose a song that we all had fun with because a lot of the notes that we got from the judges were that, these people look like they're having fun, which is really important. And I feel like when people have fun with the music they're singing, it just sounds better. And it looks good, it looks cohesive. So yeah, I think I would like if I were to give advice on that, I would pick a piece that, people know well, but they also have fun with.
I'm sorry, I interrupt. Just like real quick. Outside of the audition video, like what about like the set list itself? Like when you guys pick songs for that.
Yeah. So going off of what Prisha said, definitely blend is super important because a lot like when you're recording the AV video, like you don't have any fancy like equipment, you don't have mics. So the blend has to be like really excellent and very good that even like a regular like iPhone quality like microphone will be able to pick it up and it will sound good. And like yes, like getting the best of everything from your set. In picking a set, like songs for the set, we like to do, and I mean, I think a lot of other people in the circuit kind of do this as well, like a kind of Carnatic classical song for the first one, maybe something a little more upbeat and fun for the second one, and then the third one is pretty like heavy and powerful and leaves a lasting impression.
Did anyone want to elaborate on the set list part? Just 'cause I know y'all talked about AV a lot. I was just wondering if you get any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I can add as well. So my thoughts for picking the songs, this may or may not be controversial, but I personally believe that picking the right songs is one of the most important parts of making your arrangement. I think it can completely make or break your arrangement. If you have a weak song, it's going to be really hard to build creative parts off of it. So I would say like that's something that you should definitely spend a lot of time thinking about and experimenting with. In terms of how do you pick it, it's really like a taste thing. Just listen to a lot of different music. Like you'll kind of as you go through, you'll understand how different pieces can mix together. But generally, you want something that will be yeah, I mean, obviously you're singing as an a cappella sing, so it has to be powerful and it has to sound good sung. It can't have too many like electric sort of things unless you really know how to pull that off. One story I like to tell is that when I was creating one of my mixes 2 years ago, I was singing Skyfall in the shower and I was just like humming the chords. And then I realized like, oh, this has the exact same chord progression as this other song that I know. And so like the idea for that mix literally just came because I was singing in the shower and like I was like, wow, the chord progression matches up. Let me try mixing these together on in BandLab, and then it just so happened to work out. So just like sing in the shower if you want, and just like mess with a bunch of different music.
Great, thank you. Moving on to our next question. When and how do you incorporate your team's strengths into your arrangement, and what is your solo audition process?
Um, for us, we are really blessed to have a team of people with very diverse talents. One of the main things that stuck out to me when you said strengths was konakol. And if you don't know what konakol is, it's basically like spoken rhythm. Like if you've heard something like takadimi, that's technically konakol. But we have some really, really, really cracked people on our team that can do konakol really, really well. So that's something that we always like to put in our set. I want to say it's becoming more of like a regular thing. Like a lot of people are putting it in and it's getting a lot more popular, which is awesome. But putting it out there for the first time, I want to say was definitely kind of scary. But try to find really unique things that people on your team can do and fit it into the set somehow. Like at bid comps this year, we had I don't know if you know what overtones are, but it's moving your mouth in a certain way while singing a note, and it sounds like you can hear multiple notes in one. So we had that in the back of like a shloka that we were singing to start off our Running Up That Hill arrangement. And yeah, just finding unique things like that. We also have really strong basses. So something we started doing this year is like incorporating a lot of like bass guitar sounding type things like in our loose control arrangement we had a lot of really cool swing sounds coming from them that really like held the fort together, so look for those type of strengths. And also I want to say the circuit is becoming very much more like solo driven. Like your arrangement can be amazing but the solo has to hit, it has to be amazing and super strong. So definitely look for people that can do really cool things with their voice. Like we had opera on stage this year at A3 and like that did very, very well. So just find unique things like that you could put into your set. And yeah, I forgot the second half of the question, but yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything she said. You should definitely get to know the people in your team and figure out what everyone, what their strengths are, and that will definitely elevate your game to the next level. Like I something that feel like put Wale apart was a lot of our people had, never sang before. Like I came into the team never singing before. And the only music experience I had was, playing piano and playing drums and being part of band in high school. And but one of my strengths was that, I was a pianist and like I have perfect pitch, so it was really easy for me to, hear out of two notes. And there were a couple other people on our team that also had perfect pitch. We had some dancers who helped a lot with choreography, which is really important to, our overall set. We had a few Carnatic singers as well, so we were able to like showcase their skills as well, which kind of put us over the top. We had, people who came from theater and people who had a really good grasp of music theory. So knowing that they are able to do that is only beneficial to your team. Our solo audition process was pretty interesting, actually. It changed a lot over the 2 years that I was on the team. Um, Last year, what we ended up finding out was that auditioning in rehearsal, while it is, like it's really important that people like have that, like stage fright. We realized it took up a lot of time from rehearsal, and it kind of deviated from, like practicing singing and more of, just sitting around and pe listening to people sing. So, we ended up taking the path of people who wanted to audition for solos. They would send in a recording of them singing, and then we would, remove their name and then put them on a voting form, and we would have people listen to that on their own time and vote. And then it would be more of a democratic process and allow like everyone else to vote on who they want the soloist to be. And me and our musical intern would end up getting the last, like the final decision, but we would 99% of the time go with the votes. And yeah, that's basically how we would choose our solos.
All right. And sorry, just going back, Yukta, did you have any notes on the solo audition piece? And also just a reminder, we're going to be putting questions in the chat that are currently being answered.
Yeah, sorry, I totally forgot that second part of the question. But yeah, our process has also changed from like 4 years ago, but what we do right now actually works really well. So we kind of have like a two-round type thing. So we put out all the songs that we're going to include in our set for the year, and we just create a Google Doc of, okay, sing this segment of the song, and if it's one of those pieces where it's like get creative with it, do runs, add alapanas, whatever you want. Or if it's like a stick more to how the song goes, we'll add all those details in so that the auditionees know what to expect when they start practicing how to sing it and stuff. But the first part is video. So we uploaded everything to a Google Drive and we have like a Google Forms. Um, we do keep them unnamed, but we know everyone's voices pretty well, so you can't really, it can't be anonymous at that point. But yeah, we basically have like first choice, second choice, and then we have people that are great at math on the team. I can't explain it to you, but it's like they add like 2 points for first choice, first or 1 point for second choice, and they do some like percentage stuff, and it ends up working out somehow. But from there, we find like the top two, three-ish people for each song, and now we get to the second round of solo auditions, and we have everyone sing the backing, like with dynamics and everything. And we have those top three people sing with the backing as well, because one of the most important things is you being a solo for the song going to hurt the backing? Like if you're the strongest alto we have, is that going to hurt the backing? Or also, if you're the only bass, we're not, it's going to be difficult. We need someone else to be a base for that part. So we just a lot of things to figure out there. And also just does your voice like cut through the sound? Does it blend with everything else but in a powerful way? So just testing those things out. And then from there, the exec board stays a little later, and um, we usually make the decision that night, or sometimes it does go a few more days if we have more things to think about or we need to arrange the song further and try new things. But yeah, that's our process and it works really well. So really would recommend it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next question just for time's sake. But um, when and how? Oh, I'm sorry. Like when and how do you guys iterate and improve on your arrangement throughout the comp season?
I mean, realistically, you should be doing this throughout the comp season, like every single day. After your practice, you can kind of take a retrospective and think, okay, what went well, what didn't go well. Do not be afraid to change things, even drastically, if you think it's going to make the set better. Obviously, don't like make anything too drastic that it's going to like screw everybody up, but like always always be trying to push yourself and push the team to be better. And then also if you have the ability to go to two comps and you get feedback from the first comp, judge feedback from the first comp, it's super important to make sure you're integrating that well into your comp or into your second competition, or if you go on to more than two. Um, and those are like probably some of the most valuable feedback that you're going to get during the comp season?
For us, I'd say the biggest time I make changes is because, like Yukta said, we arrange over the summer, but that's like just my voice in the garage band. Like I haven't heard what it sounds like with everybody singing it, and obviously, like that's a totally different context. So I end up changing a lot of it as people are trying to learn, initially, or if I hear something and I'm like, that just does not sound right. So a lot of it changes when the school year starts and people start learning. We always like once we start learning things properly, like we'll stand in a circle around someone's phone so we can like record because when you're like singing, you can't critically listen as well because you're focusing on your part. So we will like record it and listen. And that's a big way that we get feedback to adjust. And then I think we get feedback from AV submissions as well, so we take that into consideration. Before we go to comps, we usually have like an open practice in which we'll have alumni and just community members and friends come, and we get a lot of feedback from that as well. And it's also a good opportunity to just like perform in front of other people if we don't have like gigs and stuff.
Yeah, everything. I agree with everything they said. We made quite a few changes throughout the season, and trust me, it's not fun on the people learning music. They will not like you, but you have to trust your gut as the person arranging the music. You have to be, you have to trust that the music you're writing, it sounds good. And even if it doesn't, there's always time to change it. You should never be afraid of changing your music, especially when there's spots that you can improve. We change your music after the first time we submit for auditions because they gave us some feedback. We changed it again after our first comp. We also got some professional advice, which was really helpful. So if you guys have that opportunity, you guys should definitely take it. We changed the arrangement then, and I would like to say that most of the changes that we did definitely benefited the group, and there were definitely some that were like maybe we shouldn't have added that, but we always took it out, and yeah, I think you just have to do a lot of trial and error. A lot of times when you arrange music, you don't really know what it's going to sound like until you sing it with the group, which is what makes this job pretty hard. So yeah, I would just say trust yourself and yeah.
We make changes a little too often, I want to say. Like the amount of times we get people complaining about like we just learned this yesterday, why did the entire piece change? Stuff like that. It always ends up usually being for the better. Like we've literally changed something 5 minutes before getting on stage before. Like sometimes you just know in your gut, like this is gonna work better. We can't do this. We can't put this on stage. And sometimes it's a quick change, sometimes the change takes a week to get ready, but it's usually important to keep changing your set. If you notice something that sounds off, start working on it right away. We have this one song where we have like 15 different versions of it. Like so many parts have changed, but I want to say we ended up with the best version of the arrangement. To pinpoint some like important times that we changed the set, the very first time would be like after the first few practices, we change our summer iterations of the arrangements, and then after audition video, that's a really important time to take the feedback, like everyone said. Um, Over winter break, there's a few changes that get made, not too many because we have comp right away. And then after bid comps, and if we have the opportunity to go to a further comp like A3 or something, we like to change a lot of our set, like not just backing, but like songs. Not because we think our songs aren't enough, but because we just like singing new things and creating new music. And um, yeah, I think change is good. People will tell you otherwise on the team. Like, I don't want to sing something new. I don't want to learn it again, but it's usually for the better. So don't be afraid to make those changes.
All right, thank you all. Um, Next question. How do you balance your collaboration with other captains when it comes to creation overall, like your arrangements, vocal execution, and choreography? And if there are multiple arrangers, how do you all collaborate?
Um, so for our team, I was MD, and then we also had a musical intern who was like kind of like assistant type, like would help with arranging. How we did it was I wrote two of the songs for our set and he wrote one of them. But the best part about having each other was that if one of us was stuck, we would just bounce ideas off of each other. And having like another person to, collaborate with and like talk to when doing this, it really helps that creative process. So I would definitely suggest, if you have the ability to have some sort of arranging group, that's definitely really helpful in this process. And after the arrangement is over, it's really important that you have like a kind of a track, or like how that arrangement goes, and you kind of know what kind of emotions go into that arrangement so that you can effectively communicate that to the choreographer if that's not yourself. Um and because the choreographer's job is, in at least for our team, was to kind of make the vision of like your arrangement and the emotions and highlight the important parts and the climaxes of the arrangement, which they won't know unless you tell them. So it's really important that you communicate all of those topics with them. Um, and yeah, I would say it's important to communicate with each other, and it's really, really helpful to have many people to arrange with.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely agree on most of the parts you said, or basically all the parts you said. Um, we Purdue Taal last year had six arrangers because we had three songs and each of them had two arrangers. It's very a lot. There's a lot of people. I think the thing that I really love about that system though is that you have like you mentioned, you have people to bounce ideas off of. The person that I arranged the song that I made for this previous set has a very different way of thinking about music than I do. Because I'm a beatboxer, I'm normally thinking about like rhythm and stuff like that, for example, and he's normally thinking about these very complicated chords and all this stuff. So you get like two completely different sides of music that you can mesh together in really interesting ways. Um, One of the most important things as well is that like if you have a lot of people, you get attached to your own ideas. And one of the most important things about creative endeavors is you have to be able to let go of the ideas that you made if it's for the better of the overall song or whatever your creative endeavor is, right? The phrase I like to use is kill, you have to kill your babies sometimes. And it's really hard. It's really, really hard, right? But you have to be able to let go of like things that you thought were really cool if you think that overall it's gonna cause something better.
Super heavy on the kill your babies thing. I had the pleasure of living with my co-MD for my senior year, which was awesome. We would literally like shout ideas from each other's like bathrooms when we were showering and be like, I just had a cool chord idea. And she'd be like, oh, tell me about it. But yeah, it was really cool to constantly be around the person that you create music with. But a lot of the times we get attached to something and we go to practice and it sounds like awful. Like it's not meant for voices at all. And we spend weeks trying to make it perfect and then we're like, I think we need to cut this out. And then it usually ends up working, but you have to just throw away some things sometimes. Like it'll sound amazing on MuseScore, that's because it's electronic. Voices are very different than that. It's not going to come out the way it you think it will. But as far as like collaborating with the other directors on the team, I think it's really important to have someone that is music and choreo. So for my team, I'm that person. I have been able to really polish my skills with doing choreo and arranging for 4 years. So by the last year, I started getting more of an idea of what the balance looked like. But it's really important, in my opinion, to think about how choreo will look when you're arranging it too. Because if you have too many moving parts, like if, let's say you have a six-part harmony and there's three different types of moving parts, choreo is going to be super difficult with the way people are stepping. If you want them to step in beat, if some people are on a triplet and other people are on like a 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to be so difficult to get everyone to be unified with movement. So it's definitely really useful to have someone that works on both of those sides. And I think that's a role that we're going to keep doing in the future because it really helps to kind of have both those brains on the music at the same time. And it also kind of helps when it comes to teaching choreo because you know all the voice parts and you can tell the basses like, oh, you move when you have the downbeat, or you tell the tenors like you move during your rest and things like that. So definitely that's one helpful thing. And because we have two music directors, we also end up being torn a lot of the time. Like one of us will say, I like this part, another person will say, I like this part better. And you need to bring a third person in a lot of the time. And that ended up being our president sometimes, or also our other choreo director, or literally any other people on exec that had strong feelings about the set. So tiebreakers are also very important.
Okay. Thank you guys. We'll go to the Q&A session now just because we're running out of time. So if you guys have any questions, just pop them in chat, or you can even unmute your mic and say your question. I actually have a question for Gabriel. Like as the VP, did you guys did you make your line before? Like how did you kind of make your line when arranging? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, most of the time, arrangers do not care about what I'm gonna do, which is funny. But it was fine because typically as beatboxer, it's like our responsibility to make sure that your beatboxing fits in with the set. But since I was able to create two mixes, I was thinking about the beatboxing beforehand, and there were parts in the song where I would specifically Oh, look, that was a similar question. Okay. I would specifically think about like, okay, here I want to showcase some of my beatboxing. Let me dial back some of this, the parts, or let me like change it to chords so that it's not rhythmic as well. It doesn't clash, or et cetera, et cetera. And if you're not a beatboxer yourself, it's like super important. Like talk with your beatboxer. I'm almost certain if I don't know if it's the case that with most other arrangements, if you guys are thinking about the beatboxer at the same time, but the beatboxer wants some love. So like talk with them and make sure that they know what they're going to be doing and have ideas, because it can definitely impact the way that you're making your parts aside from just like, thinking about the rest of the team singing. Um, I don't know if that also answers your question, in the chat, Damon.
I can jump in, but our set had a pretty cool conical versus beatbox section this year, which was like really exciting. Like any way that you can, like Gabe said, like give them some love. Like if they're super excited about what they're doing, like they need to be shown off too. Um, and I usually go in like at the beginning of the year and I'll send the beatboxer tracks of like whatever garage band recording I'm making as we go. So I'm like, hey, this is kind of what we're looking at. But more during the beginning of the year, I see what they have. And then there are specific places when I'll be like, hey, like probably less here, like especially during intro parts. There's not too much rhythmic stuff that's going on. And just finding that good balance.
I think we have one in the chat. If one of you guys wants to answer it. Hi, Kishore, can you guys see it?
Yeah, I can try to answer that. It's great that you are like starting that and doing all that. That sounds really fun. Um, for advice for starting out, I would definitely if you're starting this club, I'm sure you guys love music and I think that you guys could, hone in on that passion, find songs that you guys really, really like, and just honestly sing it, like go to a stairwell and sing together and just have fun being together and figuring out what kind of harmonies work with each other. And sometimes you don't even like you don't have to write everything out on music. You can just sing together and you can hear what kind of different harmonies work together. I remember that's what some of me and my friends used to do. We would go to a stairwell and we would just jam. And I think that could be a great way to start just singing together.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody plays like guitar or piano. It's really helpful to just have like chords behind songs. And if you don't know how to make the chords, you can go to like Guitar Hero, not Guitar Hero, what is that? Like Ultimate Guitar, and you can find chords for songs that you're using. So if you don't know how to make those by yourself, like you can find them online. Like use your resources. Also recruit really hard at org fair. That's the biggest advice I'd have. Get as many people as you can to sing with you guys. Good luck. Kudos to you for starting that.
Kind of like a non-musical part of advice to that, the biggest part about starting a new team is making sure that you guys all feel like a family. And I know that sounds super cheesy, but it's the most important thing because when your team is not in harmony with each other, your music won't be either. So just make sure that everyone loves each other and you guys spend time with each other before starting to like really focus on singing and things like that. You're going to spend a lot of time with your team and you need to make sure that you're not going to get annoyed with them easy. It will happen at one point, but you still love them at the end of the day, and that's the most important thing. But right after you kind of get that um, family aspect going, I think one really important thing is to get the foundations, like really get the foundations down. Like focus on singing one chord for a whole 30 seconds. See if you can keep that in tune for the full time and then move on to a next chord. Do like really focus on really basic warm-ups. And that is what creates a strong foundation for a team.
I wanted to answer Sankirtana's question about judgment calls between choreo and MDs. Well, Yukta probably doesn't have this problem because she's doing both. But yeah, I feel like for a lot of teams, MDs and choreo people are always butting heads like, no, we need to practice singing more. No, we need to practice choreo. For me, I was like, as soon as I heard the team starting to like go flat or sharp, because for us, it's like, if the choreo is too intense, like everyone goes sharp, and we'll keep at it. Obviously, like when we start learning choreo, it's a huge adjustment. People aren't used to it, and like it just takes a lot of breath support. Like so initially, like we'll give it like an adjustment period, but after a point, if people are just not able to maintain the full singing like quality, we're like, okay, we probably need to make some adjustments. Just because like end of it, it's a cappella, like we're not DDN, so it's like
Yeah, I totally agree. I remember me and our AD had a lot of um we had some arguments about, what the choreo should look like. And I honestly put my foot down. I was like, if the music is being affected by the choreo, then we can't have that choreo. And a lot of times that ended up, us maybe looking visually a little boring, but vocally we sounded amazing. And at the end of the day, if you look at the judges' rubric for ASA comps, it looks like visual execution is only around 50 to 20%. One of those numbers at 20%. So our thing was, we would rather, excel at the 80% if and maybe incorporate a simpler choreo to, kind of go with the music. It's not that the music should go with the choreo should enhance our music. So that was kind of our headspace.
I also think choreo should enhance the music rather than add more to it that could cause more like traffic on stage. The most important thing is that the moves you're making, they have to align with what you're singing. So if you have a slide, do something cool with your body and things like that, and make sure that you can sing while doing it. We had a lot of moves where it was really hard to do slides when like moving our body in a certain way, so we just keep that element, but switch it around in a different way that like allowed our diaphragms to be like expanded more and allow us to sing more. And also it is important to get rid of things that might be too ambitious or it might be hard to sing with, but if it's something really cool, practice it, give it a month and like really, really work on it. And if it's still not working, get rid of it. Like this year, we really wanted to do a lift, and it definitely like we actually wanted to try last year and we had some falls and stuff which we didn't want to have on stage, but after like a month or two of just practicing getting up, getting down, and just singing up there, we realized that like it's one of those things that could kind of highlight who we are. So we should just take the risk and do it. But definitely don't take the risk with many things. Like choose one or two things in your set to take the risk with. Um, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll move on to the next question now. Thank you guys. Yeah, if you guys can just see it in chat.
Yeah, this is I can speak on this. I actually originally when I came to Purdue, I was not looking for an a cappella group. I was looking for a beatboxing group. And there wasn't one at the club fair. But you know what there was? There was a sign that said beatboxing needed. And I was like, "Oh, what is this thing?" So I think for a lot of beatboxers, like beatboxing is such a niche thing that like and a lot of beatboxers are also not very vocal about the fact that they're beatboxers. It's really weird. So if you can just make like, for example, like if you really need a beatboxer and you make a big sign that says beatboxer needed, I guarantee that a few of them will see it. Because normally they're very happy to talk about it. They just aren't very vocal about it. I don't know about other niche forms of music, but that's my tidbit on beatboxer.
We kind of like scout, like we look at the UC 2020, whatever, like the graduation page, and we're like, is this person Indian? Did this person say they like music? And we just like recruit, and like DM people, like it's, yeah, and just hope that some of them will be like, hey, yeah, let me audition. Definitely org fair, like I'm pretty extroverted, but that was taxing. I just go up to random people, hey, do you like to sing? Like, and just talk to them and I don't know, get people to audition. But yeah.
Get close with the other a cappella teams at your university because we have this thing called Aka Council. It's a really cringy name, but it's all the a cappella teams at the University of Illinois, and we do auditions together, and we all like have our booths together at our organization fair and stuff like that. And we help each other out and like uplift each other, do shows together and everything. So having those connections as well, when you're doing auditions, like if there's another South Asian team or they don't even have to be South Asian. They could be a person of any background that just likes to sing or like even make music. Once you're there at auditions, just saying like, "Hey, we also sing, we compete, we do all these fun things. You should come and try it for us too." Chances are they already have something prepared. They just have to walk in and sing it for another group of people one more time. And we've gotten some of our best people that way. Also, you have to be a little annoying at org fairs. I remember like one of our strongest members, like our old beatboxer, he was not wanting to really sign up. I took his phone and put his name on an audition slot and said you will be there. So sometimes if you see talent, you have to make sure they're there no matter what. So be annoying about it and someone amazing will show up.
Great, thank you all. With the last couple minutes, just wanted to call attention to some of the other questions in the chat. There's a question about advice on incorporating Carnatic elements, and then another question about using props that could potentially affect singing.
Um, I can try to answer the Carnatic elements one, although I'm definitely not the best person to answer this question. I don't know anything about Carnatic music, but we did have someone who was a Carnatic singer, and just talking to her, she had a lot of great ideas of where to add, um, like elements of Carnatic music in the set was really good. And I think another thing that helped was me listening to Carnatic music as well, because I honestly didn't even know about it before arranging music, and listening to a lot of Carnatic music helped kind of figuring out how their musical scale works, and kind of finding empty gaps in the arrangement that I would make, and seeing how can we, like kind of like jazz this up in a way by using a Carnatic element. So you have to look through your arrangement. You have to kind of hear where, there's something that's like a little like riff or maybe like an agap that's that you can add in a specific part. You just have to listen to it. But yeah, that's what I did.
Um, Going off of what Prisha said, yeah, having gumagums is really nice, and if you have people that can do them, like go to town because they're awesome and they sound great. When we do Carnatic pieces, I try to keep the chords a little simpler. Especially like depending on the ragam, like keep it because like Carnatic music doesn't really have chords in the back. All you have is really like a tanpura. So trying to keep the chords really simple to focus on the soloists and all of the gamakams, I feel like is really important. Yukta, again, like going back to what you said about konokol, incorporating that, super fun. Um, yeah, and I also like giving the like background parts swaras, like sarigama padanisa, like they like doing that too. It's like fun. A lot of them are good vowels too. It's like aw, so it works out. It sounds a little weird individually, but when it's all together, like it sounds good.
Another thing I would say is definitely do YouTube deep dives on really fun and experimental covers of Carnatic music. That's how we found like the first Delana we wanted to include in our Delana medley. And you will find like really, really interesting stuff that you did not even think about doing. And once you find a creative out of the box idea like that, it already stands out. You just have to make the backing solid. One piece of advice I have is finding the money note in a gamaka or like a certain sangati and giving the bass the root of that chord and then giving the berries the fifth and then tenors the third and then do the same for like uh why did I forget the parts? Alto, mezzo, sop. So just kind of like layer it like that and usually that chord hits really well for those important sounds that you want to make sure are super powerful. So, for example, if you were to come off from like repeating the Pallavi and then going to the first note of the Charanam, you want that first note of the Charanam to be extremely strong. So, kind of add that like bass heavy chord right there. Um, and also, yes, I agree with keeping it really chord heavy, but it's also really, really important to get those rhythmic elements and incorporating certain sounds that you wouldn't really expect to hear. So like jum, tam, talang, things like that. So even having backing sing things like konakol is it's more percussive and it brings a really fun element into the pieces as well.
Okay. I think we have time for like one last question. So if you guys can answer like the visual one about the flashlights, if any of you guys have any perspective.
Yeah, I can try to quickly answer that question and the second one. But I would not think that flashlights would, affect singing as long as they're, used properly. I think there was a team this season that did it. I think it was Awaz. They did a really good job with using flashlights. And I remember watching them live. It looked really cool. And yeah, I think if you guys practice enough, you guys can do anything you guys want. And then for incorporating rap and Desi a cappella, that sounds like a really cool idea. I think there was one team that did it. I can't remember their name right now,
I
but yeah.
oh, I'll say our team has done it in the past, so I do
Oh
have
yeah, you
some.
you should talk about this then.
Yeah, so we did rap in one of my mixes, or my first mix that I did. My basic advice is that it's a little risky to do rap because I think it's maybe not as well appreciated by the judges because typically they're looking for more like uh technical like Indian Carnatic, etc. But if you think that it will fit into your set, you can definitely try it. I think the number one thing is that like it shouldn't be too long. It should be kind of like a taster, and it should also help you build up some portion of the song. Like this is also general advice for when you're building a arrangement. You should have some sort of like vision for like the sort of energy levels of where you want your mix to go. So I think if you use a rap to kind of help you build up some sort of energy or something like that, it can work really well. If you use it by itself as like a chorus, I don't think it'll work as well.
I would, going off of what Gabe said, I would make sure you have a soloist in mind because I feel like if you don't have swagger, like you really need to like pull it off well and have someone that just has that like really confident energy because if you have someone that like gets up on stage and starts feeling shy, like it's not gonna be executed how you want it to be. So if you have someone in mind and you think like this person is the shit, like they're gonna kill it, I mean, go for it.
All right. Thank you all for joining it. We are at an hour, and to respect in the interest of time, I think we're gonna call it, but we have a hashtag Arrangers channel on Discord. So if you have any remaining questions, please feel free to post there. But yeah, thank you again for joining, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks guys so much.
Thanks for having us. It was fun.
Thank you. Yeah, this was awesome. I learned a lot from this panel session too, so I'm
Me
excited.
too.
Glad you guys enjoyed it, but we loved having y'all and hearing you guys too. So providing this research for the circuit as well and the community.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.
Have a good
Thank you.
bye.
A nice
Thank
one.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay. Okay, good. I'm recording now.
Hold on.